You know that feeling, right? You're trying to just enjoy your life, have some fun, but there's this nagging voice in the back of your head telling you that you should be more disciplined. You're having a good time, but underneath it all, there's this constant pressure that you need to change. And honestly, it's exhausting. So let's dive into why that feeling is so common and what's really going on inside your head.
I mean, this quote just hits home for so many people. I enjoy video games, but I wish I was more responsible. It's this feeling of being stuck, and it's so incredibly common. You know a change is probably needed, but you never feel ready. And look, this isn't about being lazy, not at all. It's about a very real, very human internal conflict that a ton of us face every single day.
And this very conflict, well, it creates what you could call the discipline paradox. It's like this constant tug of war, you know? It's pulling you in two different directions. On one side, you've got the genuine joy you get from your life right now, and on the other, there's that guilt you feel about what you think you should be doing for tomorrow. Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. That resistance you feel to changing, it's not some kind of character flaw. Get this, it's actually your brain being incredibly logical. Yeah, for real. It's like it's caught in this trap that it's set for itself. And what we call laziness from the outside is actually a surprisingly rational decision from the inside.
So let's play this out, okay? Think about it from your brain's perspective. It's constantly asking this one fundamental question, whether you realize it or not. Why do we do the grind? You know, work hard, get promotions, save money. The whole point is so that one day, way off in the future, you can finally retire and have fun, right?
When you can just retire at 22? I mean, that's the punchline your brain delivers. Why go through all that struggle and effort when you're already doing the fun stuff right now? In a weird way, you've kind of cracked the code. You've figured out how to retire at 22. You're already doing the exact things that the 65-year-old version of you is working so hard to eventually get to do.
And this kind of mental math, it's happening all the time, deep inside your brain, in something we can call the cost-benefit circuit. It's this really primitive, ancient system that's just constantly weighing its options. It's the simple logic that tells you to go to the bathroom before a long car ride, right? A little inconvenience now to avoid a bigger problem later. Well, that exact same circuit is the one looking at grinding for a promotion versus getting an immediate dopamine hit from a video game. So, when this circuit looks at the two paths, I mean, the choice just seems obvious, doesn't it? On one side, you've got the grind. Decades of hard work for some reward way down the line. And on the other side, you've got the shortcut. All of the reward right here, right now. To your brain, the math is dead simple. Why pay a massive cost when you're basically already standing at the finish line? And this brings us right to the core reason we never feel ready. It's because change isn't free, not even close. Real, actual discipline has a price tag, a very real, very high price tag, and our brain knows exactly what it is. Let me give you an extreme example to really illustrate this. Think about a patient, a high-functioning person who, to protect their career, made the decision to withdraw from opioids cold turkey, at home. They later described it as one of the most profoundly painful experiences of their entire life. Now that just raises a huge question, doesn't it? How is it even possible for a human being to voluntarily choose to go through that level of suffering? I mean, what on earth could possibly be worth paying that kind of price? Well, the answer is actually really simple, but it's also incredibly profound. It's because all discipline requires paying a price. Every single bit of it. Whether it's something small, like getting in shape, or something huge like building a career or quitting a substance, it all costs something. The reason you don't feel ready is because, logically, your brain has decided that you are not willing to pay that price of effort, struggle, and pain. At least, not yet. So, the big question is, how do you become willing? And spoiler alert, the key isn't just trying to have more willpower or shaming yourself into it. Nope. It's about finding something that we're going to call a competing interest. And this is the secret to unlocking genuine, lasting motivation. So what is a competing interest? Well, think back to those scales in your brain's cost-benefit circuit. A competing interest is the thing that you finally put on the other side of the scale that's so heavy it just tips the whole thing over. It's a desire so powerful, so important to you, that it makes all the pain and struggle of change seem, well, worth it. This is when you finally feel ready. You're ready to pay the price for discipline when you find that one reason that's strong enough to make the cost seem reasonable. See, it's not about forcing yourself. It's about discovering a why that's just so much more compelling than the comfort of staying exactly where you are.
But there's a huge problem in the modern world. Finding that why is harder today than it has ever been. Why? Because we live in what you could call a should factory. We are surrounded constantly by a world that is screaming at us, telling us what we should want, and it's so loud that it just drowns out our own internal voice.
So to start figuring this out, you have to stop and ask yourself a really tough question. Where do all these wants and shoulds even come from? Think about that to-do list in your head, all the things you feel like you should be doing. Where do they come from? Are they actually yours?
Because if we're being honest, a lot of them come from everywhere but you. They come from advertisements designed to make you feel incomplete. They come from social media feeds showing you what a successful life is supposed to look like. They come from video game hype, from parental expectations, from just general societal pressure. All of these external forces are absolute experts at basically transplanting their wants directly into your brain.
And this is such a critical distinction to make. When some external force, say a controlling parent, makes you sit down and study, that is not discipline. That's just controlled behavior. It's compliance. True discipline, that's an internal force. It's something that comes from inside you that you use to overcome your own internal barriers so you can get something that you genuinely want.
Okay, so where do we even start with all this? How do we begin this journey? Well, here's a clear, actionable plan to help you find your own competing interest. And it comes with a super important warning about the final boss you're going to have to face, which is, of course, your own mind.
Okay, step 1. I want you to forget asking, do I want to change? Instead, ask yourself a much deeper question. Do I want to change? See the difference? If the answer to that is yes, you've found a real spark. Step 2. Write down all the things you think you should do. Then, be ruthless. Filter out everything that you know comes from the outside. Step 3. Find just one thing on that list that is 100% yours. And finally, step 4. Take the absolute tiniest, smallest possible step toward it. I'm talking one push-up, not a whole gym session.
But listen, the literal second you take that tiny step, you have to be prepared. Because your mind is about to pull its sneakiest, most effective trick to keep you stuck exactly where you are.
You're going to hear that voice in your head, and it's going to whisper something like this. One push-up? Seriously? That's pathetic. That's not enough. You need to overhaul your entire life, right now. It has to be all or nothing.
But you have to see this for what it is. It's a trap. It's the ultimate trap. Your mind tells you to go 100% because it knows you can't. It knows you'll get overwhelmed and fail. See, what your mind really wants is for you to choose 0%, for you to do nothing at all. That way, you can go right back to that comfortable, easy path of, retiring at 22. So, I want to leave you with this question. If you could just ignore that all or nothing voice for a second, just quiet it down for a moment. What is the one tiny, genuinely authentic step you truly want to take just for you? Think about it. Because the answer to that question, it's not just another item on a to-do list. It's the very beginning of real, true discipline.